The stars burned cold against the void as Captain James Reed stared at the tactical display. His vessel, the ESS Defiance, humanity's last warship, drifted silently at the edge of the Orion Nebula. Behind them lay the ruins of Earth, conquered 2 years prior by the Galactic Imperium, a coalition of 7 advanced species that had ruled the stars for millennia. "Status report," Reed commanded, his voice steady despite the weight pressing on his chest. Lieutenant Ana looked up from her console. "Imperium fleet still approaching, sir. All 97 vessels. Their Dreadnought-class flagship Eternal Glory is leading the formation." The bridge crew exchanged glances. Everyone knew what those numbers meant. The Defiance was outgunned nearly 100 to 1, facing the pride of the Imperium's armada, but they also knew why they had come. "Engineering. How's our little surprise?" Reed asked over the comm. "Dark matter cascade initiator is primed, Captain," Chief Engineer Tom responded. "But we'll need to get within tactical range. Their shields will need to be down." Reed nodded grimly. When Earth fell, humanity had been deemed too aggressive for galactic society. The Imperium had enacted controlled extinction, allowing some humans to live, but sterilizing the population and dismantling human technology. What the alien coalition hadn't realized was that human scientists had been working on something revolutionary: manipulation of dark matter as a weapon. "They're hailing us, sir," Communications Officer Parker announced. On screen, the imposing figure of Admiral Cole appeared, his gray exoskeleton gleaming under the harsh lights of his command center. 4 glowing eyes narrowed as he regarded the human captain. Captain Reed, the alien's translator device, rendered his clicks and whistles into English. "Your rebellion ends here. One small vessel cannot stand against the might of the Imperium. Surrender, and we will grant your crew a painless end." Reed smiled thinly. "You know, Admiral, we humans have an old saying. It's not the size of the dog in the fight, but the size of the fight in the dog." Confusion flickered across the alien's features. "Your primitive metaphors mean nothing. You have 1 standard rotation to surrender before we open fire." The transmission cut off. "He doesn't suspect a thing," Officer Mira said from Tactical. "They still think we're running conventional weapons." Reed's fingers drummed against his armrest. "They've never understood us. That's their weakness. They think in terms of overwhelming force. We think in terms of innovation." The dark matter cascade was humanity's final card to play. Theoretical until 8 months ago, it created a chain reaction in the exotic matter that comprised modern ship shields. One small breach, and the reaction would spread from ship to ship across the entire fleet. "All hands, battle stations," Reed ordered. "We're going in." The Defiance surged forward, its engines burning bright against the darkness. The Imperium fleet, arranged in perfect geometric formation, began to shift positions. "They're tarping us, sir," Mira reported. "Multiple weapon locks. Evasive pattern Delta. Deploy countermeasures." The human vessel danced between energy beams and plasma torpedoes. It was outnumbered but not outmaneuvered. Human pilots had always been respected, even feared, for their unpredictable tactics. "We've taken hits to decks 3 and 5, Anna reported as the ship shuddered. "Shields at 64%. Keep pushing. We need to get closer to their flagship." Reed had studied the Imperium's battle formations for years. Their strict adherence to protocol was another weakness. The flagship would always be at the center, protected by concentric rings of destroyers and cruisers. "Sir, we can't break through their outer defensive ring," the helmsman warned. Reed's eyes narrowed. "We don't need to. Prepare the modified probe. Let's give them something to chase." A small, engine-equipped probe launched from the Defiance, emitting the same energy signature as their ship. Immediately, a dozen Imperium vessels broke formation to pursue it. Now, full thrust toward their exposed flank, the Defiance shot through the gap in the formation, taking heavy fire, but plunging deeper into the heart of the fleet. The Imperium ships scrambled to reposition, but their rigid command structure worked against them. "Proximity to flagship. 40,000 kilometers," Anna announced. "Sir, our shields are failing." Reed nodded grimly. "That's close enough. Deploy the cascade initiator." "But Captain," Tom protested over the comm, "if we're this close when it triggers, I know, to it. A small, unassuming projectile launched from the Defiance, streaking toward the massive Imperium flagship. It would appear as debris or a malfunctioning torpedo on their sensors. All power to engines. Get us as far away as possible. The human ship turned and accelerated, but heavy fire from surrounding vessels crippled its propulsion system. They would not escape the blast radius. On the Imperium flagship, Admiral Cole watched with satisfaction as his fleet cornered the lone human vessel. These primitives never learned. His tactical officer reported a small impact against their shields, insignificant debris, nothing to be concerned about. Then the shields began to shimmer strangely. Aboard the Defiance, the crew watched their sensors as the cascade began. The flagship's shields collapsed, but instead of dissipating, the energy transformed, reaching out like tentacles to connect with the shields of nearby vessels. Ship after ship was enveloped in darkening energy fields. "It's working," Anna whispered. The bridge crew watched in awe as the mighty Imperium fleet began to fold in on itself, ships imploding as the dark matter reaction consumed their shield generators and then their power cores. Captain Reed closed his eyes as the shockwave approached. The Defiance had done its job. Humanity would not go quietly into extinction. The sacrifice of one ship and its crew would shatter the Imperium's hold on the galaxy. News of the battle spread rapidly across subjugated worlds. One small human vessel had destroyed the Imperium's most powerful fleet and their most feared admiral. The myth spread. If humans could accomplish this with a single ship, what might they do if they returned in force? Throughout the galaxy, whispers began of a resistance. The age of the Imperium was ending, all because they had underestimated humanity's greatest strength, not their technology or numbers, but their indomitable will to survive against all odds. And somewhere on distant colonies hidden from Imperium eyes, the remaining humans began to rebuild.